How's it going, guys? My name's Nick. People call me Boris, and today we're going to be talking about Canon's press release announcing the new EOS R5. Canon users have been waiting since 2018 for Canon to actually step into the ring with all of the other major mirrorless camera competitors, and today, that changed. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoy it. And if you don't mind, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if you like this kind of stuff. At the filming of this video, it's been 19 hours since Canon went ahead and released the information about the new EOS R5. So I really hope that I can bring you guys some exciting information, because this is exciting for me, seeing as I've waited 2 years for this new mirrorless release. For the past 2 years, Canon engineers have been working tirelessly to develop the next generation of EOS R and RF lenses. Yes, I also said lenses, and I'll get into that after we talk about the camera itself. The camera will feature a newly designed CMOS sensor and new image processor. The image will enable high-speed continuous shooting up to 20 frames per second when using the silent shutter, and up to approximately 12 frames per second when using the mechanical shutter. This is on par with the new 1DX Mark III, which was just released. So let's think about that. The new EOS R5 could be competing with one of the best professional cameras ever to hit the market. So we're talking a $5,000 to $6,000 camera that was just released, and it's going to be smaller and less expensive than the 1DX Mark III. This is going to completely change the game and really put a fire underneath some of the bigger competitors within this field. The once thought impossible task of the wide lens mount diameter, shorter back focus, and high-speed system for transmitting data between the camera and the lens has led to an image system that produces higher image quality and greater ease of use than ever before. With this camera being released, I know the EOS R was more of a consumer camera. It wasn't a professional camera body like the 1DX Mark II was and the 1DX Mark III currently is. So I still am going to assume that the majority of the people who are going to be getting this camera are new photographers, newer videographers, and that kind of information there isn't going to be completely relative to you until you start learning a little bit more. But you can refer to the comments below and see what people are talking about as far as this information goes. One of the coolest things that this camera is going to offer, which not anybody even needs at this point, but Canon is setting everybody up for the future with this new 8K video. So we're talking high-speed continuous shooting, and 8K video recording will prepare videographers for the future of movie making. Capturing 8K footage allows for higher quality 4K productions, as well as extract high-resolution still images from the video footage. If you guys look online, there are plenty of videos that show the higher-end, more professional Canon DSLRs and cinema cameras compared to the EOS R, and how much more grain you can actually see in the sensors. So with having a bigger sensor, having higher resolution 4K, you're going to notice a big difference in what I'm assuming is going to be the dynamic range. And with it being in 8K, I'm assuming that it's going to be cropped. There's a very slim chance that it's going to be uncropped. It's a 99% chance it's going to be cropped, which leaves a higher chance that with having such a higher quality 4K, we might get a full frame 4K camera. And then another small piece of information along with the 4K is that you can actually find on Canon rumor sites that this camera is going to be shooting at 4K at 120 frames per second, which again is huge news. Another awesome thing that we're going to get inside this camera that Canon really didn't listen to the first time, but they're listening now. We will be getting dual SD card slots. Will these be CF Express, SD, or a combination of the two? My guess is with the R5 shooting in 8K, one of those card slots are going to be set up for faster cards like the CF Express. One of the other ones is going to be an SD card slot. Of course, if it's going to be geared more towards videographers, we might get 2 CF Express cards. I know that's what a lot of professionals want, but again, with this camera not being on the professional level and still being in that consumer camera market, I would expect it to be a CF Express card and one SD card slot. Now let's talk about IBIS. This will be the first Canon ever to have in-body image stabilization, which can be used in conjunction with the RF lenses that have in-lens stabilization, allowing for photographers and videographers to capture images in low light and with less shake. Previously not imagined. Now, of course, for fast-moving sports, wildlife, or shooting at high frame rates and having a low shutter speed, you are probably still going to want to use a tripod. I wouldn't push it. Of course, I haven't tested this camera. No one has, but I'm assuming you're still gonna need to use a tripod. Now, shooting in low light, I again would still recommend using a tripod, but this is something that only time can tell. Once we get our hands on the camera, we'll be able to know. Now, Canon did release a picture of the camera body, which here you can tell looks pretty much the same as the EOS R. So I'm not gonna go really into that at all. So the last thing that Canon mentioned in their press release was scheduling the release of the 100 to 500 millimeter f4.5 to f7.1 LIS USM lens and a 1.4 times and 2 times extender. As far as the lens, this will primarily be for sports and wildlife photographers and videographers with such a large compression and an f-stop of 7.1. It's not going to be an ideal lens for shooting anything indoors, but this is something that is going to be ideal for shooting outdoors, sports, football games, wildlife, being far away. And looking at the picture, if everything is in body, it looks like it could be possibly maybe a lighter lens. We just don't know yet. Another thing we don't know is what the price is going to be. Now, in 2016, Canon released the 5D Mark IV, which came in at about $3,500. Now, the EOS R originally was released as the competing camera to that within the mirrorless market. So we can only imagine and only speculate at this point right now that the new EOS R5 is going to be sitting at the same price range between that $3,500 to $4,000 mark when it's released. And you can definitely see that within all of these specs. We got 2 SD card slots, we have a bigger sensor, we're getting 4K, we're getting 120 frames per second, it's still got a nice ergonomical body, and we're getting another new lens. And the biggest thing that Canon has ever done, the first time that Canon has ever done anything like this, is allowing the camera to have in-body image stabilization, which is going to be a game changer for Canon users. So along with Canon's new 100 to 500 millimeter lens, the very last thing that Canon actually posted on the announcement page was this EOS R5 will be on display at the February 25th to 27th WPPI show in Las Vegas, and there is talk that this camera will be released sometime this summer, at which point I will plan to do and release a R5 versus EOS R comparison video after I get my hands on this camera. And that's it for now. That's everything that they talked about. See you guys in the next video, where we're going to talk about more photography and videography tips, tutorials, gear. Post comments so I can know what type of questions that you want answered, and get you guys the feedback that you guys are really looking forward to. And if you guys are bored and have no idea what else to watch, go ahead and if you're up to it, check out my other content. For now, hot day. That's goodbye in Norwegian. Peace.